Hey guys, so I wanted to make a quick little video introducing another project of mine. Who knows if it will get completed, but I'm hoping that there will be more videos in this series. So long story short, I won an Insta360 X3 in a raffle. I didn't really expect to win this, but I'm going to be throwing it, or have thrown it, in a custom built drone with the goal of making an invisible drone. I know there's some companies that have already built invisible drones for like the One RS and stuff, but they weren't very popular and most of them have been discontinued by now. And as far as I'm aware, nobody's built a drone that actually takes the X3 while making the drone itself invisible. I can kind of understand why. It's like the camera itself is like 2 centimeters thick, so you don't have a lot of room to work with. Nevertheless, I've gone ahead and designed a frame, 3D printed it, and actually taken it out for its first flight. So I thought it'd be a good time to make this video. I'll explain how the drone works in a minute here. A couple things I didn't note in the other recordings that I took was that after reviewing the flight footage, I realized that the drone is in fact not entirely invisible. There's some bolts that you can kind of see because I didn't recess them far enough. That's going to be addressed. I'm going to have to redesign this anyway because, quite frankly, there's just not enough lift. But I'll explain that in a few minutes. For now, I'll show you guys the drone, the build, and my first attempt at flying. It's 30 seconds of bliss. Alright, we'll take a look and show you kind of what's going on under the hood of this thing. So it's nothing too uncommon compared to your normal drone, except that I'm using an AIO on the front stacked with a Walksnail whatever VTX that is. You got the two video antennas coming out the front instead of the back as typical, just because getting long antennas can tend to be hard, and I was a little bit lazy. For mounting the Insta360, I oversized this a little bit, mostly by accident, but it's fine. I actually put in these gummies to hold the camera in. It's not very convenient for taking it in and out, but that just keeps it from wiggling around. The top piece and bottom piece actually do hold the camera in on its own. And then, you know, your typical, these are undersized, as we found out. 1504, 4000 kV motors. This thing is meant to take two 4S 450 milliamp hour batteries. Clearly that didn't work out so well. It's just not enough for this setup. The motors aren't either, so I'm gonna have to redesign this probably for a 4-inch setup. Back here you have your receiver. I'm just using Crossfire, and all I did was make a big hole in the frame and use hot glue to hold it in, which actually worked surprisingly well for, yeah. So yeah, nothing too crazy. You get two power leads running in parallel. They're very long compared to normal power leads. It's kind of hard to see in there, but they both connect on the battery pad. So yeah, it's like, as far as the drone build goes, it's a fairly simplistic build. All of the motor wires and receiver wiring and everything runs through this tiny little gap between the inner wall and the outer walls, which kind of helps hold everything in place so you don't get a lot of wiggling around and stuff. Yeah, kind of is what it is. But yeah, I think we're gonna go up to 2204 motors probably, and make this a 4-inch instead of a 3.5. At this point, size doesn't really matter because no matter what I do, I'm going to be overweight by a lot. So might as well go bigger is better. Yeah, I'm going to pull this camera out now and take a look at the footage I shot today and see if it's even usable. I think one of the problems is these screw mounts are flush with this camera when it's all put together. So I'm going to have to do something about that and basically recess all of the screw mounts on the top plate so that they're not interfering with the camera. Same with the mounts on the bottom.